Hey everybody, tonight we're going to be talking about the dragon, or at least that's what I'm going to call it. Could be called the dragon scales, I'm not sure. But found this on Marcia Linda. This was the only place I could find it, so that's if you want to get one, that's where you'll have to go. We're going to do the usual, take it apart, compare it, measure it, weigh it, have some fun with it. It is an interesting design, I'll give it that, and it was a decent price. But tariffs, at least if you're in the US, have taken a toll. We're going to talk about that too. Please stick around. We'll have some fun. Okay, let's talk tariffs real quick. Give you a quick listen here. Oops, wrong way. It's a one-way slider. 14 clicks one direction, 3 clicks the other direction. Anyhow, tariffs. If you live in the United States, there's going to be tariffs. Some stores are showing them, some stores aren't. Marcia Linda, for some reason, is. But they only show it when you get to the very last screen, when you're ready to check out. And they break it down in a weird way where it's just, now there's a shipping charge. So this, for instance, was like $35, and then it was like a $12 or $11 shipping fee. Then there was some kind of fee for, I think, for the handling of what they have to do for tariffs, and then there was the miscellaneous fees. You can click on a little question mark there. I think it breaks it down even more for you. But again, $35 ends up being $101 when you check out. But that is what I would prefer to see at any of the stores I shop at AliExpress. I'd prefer to see, if I'm going to pay tariffs, and I want it all done up front. I don't want it stuck in customs. Anything can happen if you have to wait and pay for it. I want the post office to hold on to it. You guys have heard all this stuff. It is complete chaos as far as knowing what's actually going to happen with tariffs and stuff in the United States, and I think they prefer it that way. So we'll see. If we're lucky, things will maybe normalize at maybe 50. I've heard people say maybe a 50% or 30% tariff. I don't know. I'm not an economist or anything like that, but I do watch a few people. We'll see. We'll see. All right, let's move on to the next segment. That's funny, I say segment like I have some kind of a plan. I guess we'll do the box next. So this came from Marcia Linda, and this is the box. I'll try to get that still for you, so focused. So if you want to do any translating, you can. You can zoom in on that. Should be clear enough. And the other side's the same. So we got COOTIN EDC box. Here's everything I got. It even came pre-opened for me. How thoughtful. No extra parts, no documents, nothing. Now that could be Marcia Linda. I've had issues with them before. It's not the greatest shop. When you do shop there, you're kind of taking a risk. More so, I think, than other shops we deal with. But like I said, there was no other place offering this, and I looked all over for it. So I'm still pretty happy that I got it. All right, let's do some quick comparisons. The two usual suspects we got here. We got the Mackie CP3. I'll lay these out on my hand. And the Metal Toys DZ Top B. So we have those two, and then I brought out two that are similar but different. Now these are both Cosmo 42 Cosmo, I'm sorry. That's a collaboration with 42 Cosmo and EDC. Now these have what I call, you've heard of rack and pinion steering. So a rack is like a gear, but it's laid out flat, so it's like teeth. And the pinion, in the case of rack and pinion steering, would be like a gear that rolls along that set of teeth. And that's how these are set up. It's the teeth, and then there's springs and balls that push against those peaks and valleys. So it's a different feel than maybe what you're used to with something like this that has balls and detents. Quite a different feel. And I think all three of these, actually, these three, have sort of a carriage in the middle that holds two springs and two balls This one I think actually holds 4 springs and 4 balls, 2 that way and 2 this way. This one I think might be 1 in both directions, at least 1, and of course this one is just 1 in both directions. But I only have, again, for how loud it is, that's 1 ball and 1 spring, and I'd say it's a medium strength spring, and a ceramic ball. I just grabbed one because when I took it apart at work, I immediately lost the ball that was in there. I don't even know what came with it. I'm assuming stainless. I don't know. I looked around, but there was no chance of finding it. Alrighty. There's comparisons. Well, let's do a little side by side with these in case you happen to have a Cosmo 42 Cosmo slider. These are similar thickness. And then we have the, what is that called? The Mermaid, I think. The downfall, downside of this one is that it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the 6th click is just like a mushy push into mushiness. I need a nice click when I get to the end there, and I don't care for that. Another fault with this one, I would have to say, is that the Teflon, when you put these 2 screws in and you put them in just as far as they need to be put in, you can't avoid it. The Teflon arcs a little bit, and it does the same thing on the other side. I don't know if you'll be able to see that on the camera or not. Maybe if I bring it up closer. I don't know. Try to focus it. But that's why you hear a little pop. That's why you hear a pop. It's actually when this edge catches on this inside edge, right about there. Anyhow, this one does not do that. Much more happy with that one. Let's move on to weights and measurements. Alrighty, let's bring in the scale here. Someone taught me something there in the comments the other day I want to try. Let's say I put something on here, say this is magnetic. It's not magnetic, but when I do have something magnetic, I like to separate it. I like to separate it from the scale with a little bit of distance so that the magnets don't affect the scale. So it's zeroed out. Now I've put that on. I was told if I hit tear, that's the same as zeroing it out. Hey, works. I'll keep that in mind. Thank you, whoever told me that. I guess we can just tear again. Okay, we should be at 0 grams. We are. This weighs, in the stainless steel, it's only available in stainless, 75 grams. A little brass insert there. I don't know if that's supposed to be a dragon. Interesting. Turn that off, and now we will measure it. Okay. Height, about 55. Let's do extend. Let's just do what the hell. We'll do extended in the short version. About 62. Extended the long way. Brings us out to about 83, 82. And that remains to measure the width and thickness. The width is 24, and the thickness is just about 10. So there you go. I know the ball is 3 millimeter. The spring is 3 millimeters by 5 millimeter. The wire diameter of the spring, I'm not quite sure. We can check that once we take it apart, which is the next segment. Alrighty, let's get the screwdriver out here and disassemble. I should mention when I got this, we were using a Phillips #1, by the way. That's what fits the best. Again, always find the one that fits in there without any wiggle at all. That way you don't risk stripping the screw head. You want something that gets a nice even grip. When this came in the mail, all 6 of these screws were loose. They weren't completely unscrewed, but they were unscrewed, say, about that much. and you could feel everything was loose. So I could tell something was wrong, and I knew that. So first thing I did was tighten those screws. Then I took it to work the next day and was walking around, and out of the blue, the whole top piece came off on me. So I'll show you how that works in a second, but we'll just keep everything held together with gentle pressure here. There's nothing that's really going to happen here. We can just lift this off. Well, that's what I remembered. There's that. Oh, that's why I lost the balls. See, I've only done this one time. So we're almost live, but not quite. Let's do this carefully. See, the carriage part is right about in here, and there's a spring and a ball pointing either this way or this way, because I only have one. You can do on both sides. I only have one side installed. I can't tell which side that is, but when I cock this sideways and pull it apart, it's going to fly out one side or the other. So be prepared for that. There we go. There we go. So here's what we have. Like I said, a 5mm by 3mm. Let's measure the wire diameter. I'd say that's a 0.35. 0.35? We'll see. Holy cow. Really? No, it's 0.35. Yes, that's I'd call that a strong spring. And it didn't come with any others, but the idea is, make sure this is in focus for you. There's a spring hole here and a spring hole here. They don't go the whole way through. It's a blind hole on each side. So you can drop a spring and a ball on both sides, but I only have one spring and one ball. Like I said, I don't know what the original ball might have been, but I just replaced it with a ceramic, a white ceramic. So that's how the two pieces come apart. You just have to be careful when you're in this stage. When you cock it sideways a little bit and take it apart, just have your fingers off to the side to catch the springs and balls that are going to want to shoot out. And then you can flip it over, and if you need to, you can take this piece apart. Like I said, the screws came loose on this, and I was walking around at work, and I went whoom like that, and well, would have been this way, whoom like that, and this whole top part just flew off and landed on the floor. Luckily, it didn't do any damage, but that's what happens if these become disconnected, and we'll just take it apart for fun. Very, very thin Teflon. Now, these screws are, you can tell they're much different than the others. A little bit bigger and a little bit longer. So we won't be mixing those up by accident. Now, I'll give you a view of the parts close up. Here is what I call the carriage. We have a little hole on either side for the springs and balls to be installed. That would go up and down through here. This, maybe now that it's apart, I can give you an inside view, and you'll see that these are detents. Those are actually detents, not a rack or the jagged up and down gear-like feature. Instead, it's what we're used to with a lot of other sliders, those rounded detents for the ball to drop into. So I think it's a much better feel, actually, it's than the other ones I was showing you. The Teflon plate, though, I mean, it is, well, let me put something, like, I know you can't see with this black here, but this is very flexible, very soft, and I'll show you what I don't like about that in a second. So there's two little tabs on here. I hope this is autofocusing nicely for us because I haven't been paying much attention. There's two little tabs here, and those run in these grooves right here. And I've kind of lost track of which way those go, but we'll quickly find out whether we're right or wrong as we put it back together. So I think that's where we're at. let's go ahead. I'm going to leave it with one spring and one ball. We could put another spring and another ball in, but I don't really feel the need for it. One seems enough right now. So, yeah, we'll do the next segment. Okay, like I said, I've kind of lost track of what I was doing here. So let's just here's the two tabs. Let's flip them over. Let's put this in place. And let's take this carriage piece. It's eventually going to be screwed in. You see the two screw holes right here. It's going to be located right there. So let's do a little test. If I hold that in place, does this move the way I want it to? No, it doesn't. So we must have put it in the wrong way around. We can just take this, turn it around 180 degrees, put it back in, put this here, give it another test. Now we've got a nice long travel in one direction and a short travel in the other direction. So I think we're on the right track with that. Now we can go ahead and put these screws back in. I did notice another maybe design slight fault with this is when I did put this back together the first time and I tightened these down, I noticed that it's a little catchy. It's a little thicker. This Teflon plate must be a little bit thicker right in this region than it is in this region, because you can feel it's not quite as easy to push. It's hardly noticeable, and I'll bet with time it probably wears in. Actually, the way I use it, it doesn't bother me much at all. So, having said that, let's move forward. You know, I don't know. It's hard enough to put in. Here's the spring. We'll put the spring in, and then we will put the ball in. Now, my only thoughts on this is that I need to hold this piece the way I'm holding it, otherwise the ball is going to fall off the spring. So I have to hold this steady, and then those detents are sort of on the inside. So I'm going to cock this a little bit sideways as I bring it in. And there, everything closed up. Looks even on all sides. I'm going to move it a little bit. I can hear it click. That's good. So we should now be able to, once we get this Teflon piece into place, move the top piece out of place. And I'm just gently holding these together so they don't fall apart. Now we can go ahead and put the 6 screws back in. So I don't have a fancy way to speed this part up, so I'll just talk to you. I don't know what to think about these tariffs. It's a very disappointing thing for me, because I love mechanical sliders, I love mechanical fidgets, and China is the main source for those things. Now I should mention here that I'm just snugging these in, because again, it's very soft Teflon. If you screw them in too hard, it's going to start to push the material out. It's going to do some damage probably. So just snug. But yeah, I'm really hoping the tariffs drop down. 30% would be great. 50% be better than 100, nearly 150%. But that's just for us in the U.S. And that's all I can say about that. We'll have to see how things pan out. In the meantime, maybe you have a friend in a different country that can get it for you and send it to you as a gift. I don't see anything wrong with that personally. So, I get it together pretty easily. Now, I can imagine if you want to put 2 balls and 2 springs in there, that could really increase the skill, well, the luck required. I think we'll say luck instead of skill. It'll increase the amount of luck required to get it back together again. But I'm happy with that. I think it's pretty well made. I don't know if I give you a good view of the back. Okay, I think that I've said everything I need to say about this. Might be a camping video coming up next. If it is and that's not your thing, please just skip right over it. It's just something I do for myself for fun, and I don't expect you to watch. Even these videos, if you need to get information, just fast forward. Get where you need to go. I don't expect anybody to watch these things the whole way through, and I try to keep them in about 20 minutes. I'm not sure how we did tonight. I guess we'll see in a few. So, thanks for watching. Bye.